Well, here it is. It's kind of the conclusion of Bass Pro Tour stop number 2 for me down here at Lake Conroe. Ultimately, do I wish I was getting ready for another day for a championship round? For sure. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way for me here, but it wasn't because I wasn't around the fish. I just didn't get the bites in the tournament to kind of keep me going down that path. But I figured I'd take a minute or two to just kind of explain my practice to you, and being that I'd never been to Conroe before. So I approached it with the fact that I felt like in 2 days of practice I needed to see as much of the lake as possible, just to whenever I come somewhere new, I want to be able to see it all to know what my options are. And rewind back to Sunday, which was our first day of practice. There was a big tournament going on that day, so it was pretty easy to tell what the good popular areas were because there were so many tournament boats. And with that being said, I also wanted to get different watercolors and water temps throughout the lake. And so I burned a lot of gas on last Sunday trying to determine where I wanted to fish, and really struggled most of the day. And then finally late in the day, about probably 2 or 3 o'clock, I got into an area and it had some lily pads in it, which was kind of surprising. I didn't expect to see that at Lake Conroe. And I got in there and watched a local catch a really nice fish, and I was throwing a chatterbait and a spinnerbait. Happened to be throwing those on the Cast King Speed Demon Pro spinnerbait rod, and then on the chatterbait rod as well. This has got 40-pound Cast King Cast Pro braid, and on spinnerbaits and chatterbait style baits, I like to throw the Bassinator Elite, but I throw it on the 6:6 to 1 gear ratio reel, a little bit slower reel. It's early spring, water's in the mid-50s, so I'm working that bait fairly slow, and that's what I was doing with this setup. But I'd kind of determined that to find the fish, the key was to cover water, and that's by doing that with moving baits. Obviously, my other approach was the other pattern that I developed more on the next day of practice, which was Monday, and that was by throwing a square bill crank. So on the square bill, I was using the Bassinator Elite, the 8 to 1 gear ratio reel. A reel I can fish a little bit faster, cover some water. Had it on 16-pound gamma fluorocarbon, and it's a good bait for finding fish and just covering a lot of water. And Monday, I found 2 really good areas. One of them was just a kind of a channel swing type of bank that had some rock in there. Made one pass down it and caught 3 or 4, and really thought that would be a key place. Another place was a place where on Sunday I saw a lot of tournament boats, didn't want to get in there and fish it. I pulled in there Monday afternoon just to see if I could get bit in there, and throwing the square bill, I catch a really nice 3.5 pounder. Then I got into some shallower water. The other technique that you just can't pass up doing in the springtime, especially in Texas, and that's throwing a red lipless crankbait. What I was throwing that on was Speed Demon Pro, the lipless cranking rod, a 7-foot rod with the Speed Demon Pro reel. This is the 9 3 to 1 gear ratio reel. It's one of the fastest out there. Had it on 20-pound gamma fluorocarbon, and just a really good setup for fishing a lipless crankbait, because anybody that's fished a lipless crankbait knows back in the good old days you just really have to wind it fast to keep the bait moving like you have to. With this reel, you don't have to do that. It's such a fast gear ratio reel, it really takes up a lot of line and makes it very comfortable to fish. And with those 2 days of practice, I was really feeling confident that I would be fishing the finals of this event. And lo and behold, on Monday night we had a nice cold front come in. Monday was beautiful. Monday was probably in the 70s. Then Sunday it probably got close to 70. Sunday night it lows in the 60s, so it was really warm the next morning, so the water never really got cold. It was warming up. Well, lo and behold, Monday night a cold front hit, and it was windy and chilly the first day of the tournament. And really, with the patterns that I had figured out, I didn't expect the fishing to get so tough, and for me it did. And the square bill bite virtually went away. The first day of the tournament, I think I Ended up catching my fish on a medium diving crankbait, fishing a little bit deeper. I finally backed out of those places and, like I said, fished a little bit deeper, and managed to scrap together, I think, 3 fish on it. And I think I caught one in those areas where I was throwing the spinnerbait and the vibrating jig. I ended up catching one on a lizard. So it was one of those things in hindsight. I should have adjusted sooner. I should have recognized not getting the bites as early as I did, that I needed to change up sooner, because it's like I said earlier, I wasn't around fish. Believe it or not, some of the top guys in the tournament were fishing around me. Boyd Duckett, Mark Rose, Jordan Lee. So I was around the fish. I just didn't adjust with them. So if there's one thing to take away from this, when you go fishing, you need to be willing to change faster. And then that's kind of one of my rules of get in an area where there's a lot of fish. And if you fish for 30 minutes, an hour, and you're not catching fish, it usually means the fish are there. You just need to change and do something to get those fish to bite. So do I wish I had Conroe to do over again? Absolutely. But with that being said, of 20 plus years of doing this, I'm still learning. I mean, we're always learning as fishermen. There's things that I'm going to take away from this tournament that are going to have made me a better fisherman. And just really looking forward to the next event, and the Bassmaster Classic's right down the road. So looking forward to getting ready for that one, and hopefully bringing that big trophy home. So right after that, we got Bass Pro Tour event number 3, and looking forward to turning around my season with the Bass Pro Tour on that event for sure. So keep checking in, and we're going to have some good fishing reports right around the corner here. Take care.